career advice content we're going to dig into, hopefully to help you knock those tough interview questions out of the park and land that dream legal job you've been working towards. So picture this. You're prepping for an interview at a firm you've had your eye on. How do you get past just knowing the law? Showing them you've got more offer than just book smarts.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because these days, firms are really looking for something more than just, legal knowledge. It's like they want to see your legal mind in action, yeah, but also how you would fit into their team, how you handle clients, and all those tricky situations that pop up in a legal practice.
So it really is about the whole package, not just being able to recite statutes from memory.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. It's like they're looking for that blend of sharp legal thinking, strong ethical judgment, and the ability to actually connect with people, really showcasing yourself as someone who can handle all the complexities of this legal world.
Makes sense. So our source material actually breaks down the typical questions you'll likely get into 4 main categories. But instead of just listing them out, let's really get into why they ask them, right? What are those interviewers actually looking for?
Yeah, I like that. Let's do it. Let's start with, let's say, the classic legal knowledge questions.
Yeah, the ones that make you sweat a little, right?
A little, but they're not just about knowing the law. I think they're more about showing how you understand how to actually apply it, in the real world.
So, they might throw a curveball and ask you to explain some complex legal concept or
Yeah.
talk about a tough case you've worked on.
Right, exactly. Like, how did you approach it? What were your strategies?
So it's about kind of telling the story of your legal experience in a way that shows off your skills and how you think.
Right. Absolutely. They want to see your analytical abilities, how you tackle those complex issues, and how clearly you can explain those tricky legal concepts. It's about taking those textbook definitions and showing that you get how the law works in practice.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about those behavioral questions?
Yeah.
I think those can be tricky because they're digging into how you've dealt with situations in the past, right?
Yeah, those are the ones that are trying to get a peek into your professional character, see what your soft skills are like, and how you've handled, ethical dilemmas or difficult people.
Oh, yeah, like those sticky situations everyone tries to avoid.
Exactly. So you might get a question like, tell me about a time you disagreed with a client strategy, or describe a situation where, you had to deal with a conflict on your team.
So they basically want to know how you handle those gray areas that, let's face it, every lawyer's going to face.
Exactly. It's about showing your judgment, your people skills, and how you make those ethical calls when things get tough.
So they're really trying to figure out your professionalism, how you approach conflict, and whether you can keep those client relationships strong, even when things get bumpy.
Exactly.
Sounds like preparation is key here. Having some good examples ready to go could really make a difference. Now, what about those situational or hypothetical questions? Feels like they're trying to throw you off balance and see if you can think on your feet.
Oh, for sure. Those are the ones that are testing your ability to think critically and apply legal principles, but in totally new situations.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so they might give you this hypothetical problem or a really complex ethical dilemma, and then ask you to break it down, outline some potential solutions, and explain your reasoning.
So it's less about hitting the quote-unquote right answer and more about showing them how your brain works, how you solve problems.
You nailed it. They're watching how you approach something unfamiliar, how you break it down into manageable pieces, and how well you use legal reasoning to come to a conclusion.
So they want to see that legal mind firing on all cylinders, even when it's something you've never seen before.
Exactly. And don't forget these hypothetical questions. They can also reveal how you understand risk, how you weigh different options, and how committed you are to ethical considerations, even in a made-up scenario.
Okay, we've got legal knowledge, behavioral questions,
Yeah.
and we've tackled those hypothetical brain teasers.
Yeah.
What's the 4th category?
All right, so the 4th category, it's all about personality and fit.
Fit, okay.
Might seem a little less technical, but they're actually super important because, firms want to make sure you're not just a legal whiz, but also someone who will actually, enjoy working there.
So cultural fit,
Yeah.
teamwork, those less tangible but super important aspects of being a good colleague and, a good advocate.
You got it. So you might get questions like, why are you interested in our firm specifically? Describe your ideal work environment. They might even ask about your career goals, your leadership style.
Or even your hobbies.
Right. Hobbies and interests outside of work.
It's all about getting a sense of who you are as a person. whether you'd be a good match for their firm's values and culture.
Exactly. They're looking for people who are passionate about the law, who are team players, and honestly have a real interest in the kind of work the firm does.
There's got to be a win-win.
Yes, it's about finding that mutually beneficial fit where both the firm and the attorney can really shine.
Love that. So it's not just about snagging the job. It's about finding the right job, the right team, the right place to really build your career, right?
Absolutely. And that's exactly why these personality and fit questions are so crucial. They help both sides figure out if there's, a true connection when it comes to values and goals.
It's like dating for lawyers, right?
Yeah.
Got to see if you're compatible.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So we've covered the 4 main question types you'll probably encounter, but listen, knowing what to expect, that's only half the battle. The real challenge, it's crafting those knockout answers that make you stand out right.
The ones that make them go, wow, we need this.
That's the goal, and that's where the real prep comes in. It's not just about knowing the law or having a couple of stories ready. It's about knowing how to present those experiences and insights in a way that really connects with the folks interviewing you.
So how do we go beyond just like answering the question to really crafting those standout responses? Our source has some great tips, and they start with something called the STAR method. Have you ever used this?
Oh, the STAR method, it's like a classic interview strategy, and it works wonders, especially for those behavioral and situational questions.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So it stands for situation, task, action, and result. It's basically a structured way to tell your story, that highlights your skills and accomplishments.
I like structure. Break that down for me.
Let's say you're asked about a time you handle a difficult client. Tough situation, right? But with the STAR method, you start by describing the situation, set the scene.
The context of that client relationship and that specific problem you faced.
Right, exactly. So you're giving the interviewers that background information they need.
Setting the stage.
Exactly. Then you move on to the task. What was your role? What were you trying to get done?
So basically laying out your responsibilities and goals.
Exactly. Next up, actionable. What did you actually do to tackle that challenge, to get over that hurdle?
Show them what you're made of.
Right. This is where you shine. Problem-solving skills, initiative, it's all on display here.
And then finally, you hit them with the results. What happened because of your actions? Did you solve the problem? Did the client get a good outcome? Or, did you at least learn something valuable from the whole thing?
That's it. It's about highlighting what your actions actually achieved,
Right.
even in a tough spot. So the STAR method, it gives you that clear framework for your responses. You're going to hit all the important points and present those experiences in a way that's, convincing and memorable.
Okay, I'm liking this already. It's like having a blueprint for building those strong, impactful answers.
And the cool thing is the STAR method. You can use it for so many different questions. From those behavioral questions like, tell me about a time you messed up, to those situational questions like, how would you handle a conflict between 2 clients?
That's helpful. It's like a go-to tool for organizing your thoughts and presenting your experience clearly and concisely.
Exactly.
But even with a great structure like the STAR method, it's still about showcasing those qualities that firms really value, right?
Yeah,
What are they looking for beyond just like checking off the boxes?
absolutely. Think about it like this: legal smarts, that's a given. But firms also want people who can think analytically, communicate effectively, and advocate strongly for their clients. They want someone who can build those relationships with clients, with colleagues, and someone who can navigate those ethical minefields that, let's face it, are part of the legal world.
So they're looking for a combination of brain power and like people skills.
Yeah.
Right?
You got it. And even beyond those core skills, they appreciate qualities like resilience, adaptability, a growth mindset. The legal field, it's always changing. So firms want people who can roll with the punches, learn from their experiences, and always be looking to improve.
So it's not just about what you know right now, it's about your willingness to like learn and evolve.
That's exactly it. Showing a genuine passion for this crazy world of law and a commitment to keep learning, that can really make a lasting impression.
I love that. It's about showing them that you're not just filling a position. You're here to make a difference. And okay, we've talked about how to handle their questions like a pro, but what about turning the tables a bit, asking some good questions of your own?
Ah, yes. The interview is a two-way street, right? Asking those thoughtful questions, it's just as important as giving solid answers. It shows you're engaged, you're curious, you take initiative.
I'll admit, I've always felt a little awkward asking questions at the end. Like, shouldn't I just be grateful they're even considering me?
It's a common feeling, but try to shift your thinking a bit. You're not just being considered, you're considering them too. You're investing your time, your energy, your future. You deserve to know if this is the right place for you.
I like that reframing. So what kind of questions will make a good impression and give me the info I need?
Our source has some killer examples. One that stands out is, can you talk about how the firm approaches, professional development and mentorship?
Oh, smart.
Right. It shows you're thinking long term
Hmm.
about growth
Hmm.
and whether they actually invest in their attorneys.
It also gives you a sense of their culture. Do they value mentorship and guidance?
Exactly.
What other questions should we be asking?
Another good one. Tell me about a recent case or project that the firm is really proud of.
I like that. It's a bit sneaky, but it gets them talking about what they value.
It does. You get a peek into their recent wins and their approach. And don't forget to ask about things like work-life balance, their commitment to diversity and inclusion, maybe even their pro bono work. These questions really show what they care about beyond just billing hours.
Yeah, it's about getting a feel for their culture and if it aligns with your values.
You got it.
Okay, these questions are way more insightful than the ones I usually ask. I'm feeling way more confident about that Q&A part.
And remember, asking smart questions, it doesn't just help you check them out. It also leaves a good impression. You come across as someone who's genuinely interested, who thinks strategically. You're looking at the big picture, not just trying to land a job.
Okay, so we've covered the different types of questions you'll face, how to craft those standout answers using techniques like the STAR method, and the power of asking insightful questions of your own. Huh. A lot to take in, but I'm feeling much more prepared to tackle those interviews.
It's all about preparation and strategy. But don't forget, be yourself. Let your personality shine, show your passion for the law, and don't shy away from asking those tough questions, the ones that help you figure out if this is really the right fit for you.
Love that. It's not just about them choosing you. It's about you choosing them too.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful shift in perspective. I'm feeling a lot more confident going into these interviews now.
That's great to hear.
I feel much more confident already. So, beyond nailing the questions and showcasing our personalities, what are some other nuances we should keep in mind? Our source mentions some common pitfalls to avoid during attorney interviews.
Oh, yeah. There are definitely some traps that even experienced professionals can fall into. Yeah, there are definitely some traps even experienced professionals can fall into. Like, for example, one common mistake is over-rehearsing your answers.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
I mean, yeah, preparation is essential, but you don't want to sound like you're reading from a script.
Right, you want to sound natural and engaging.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance, between being prepared and still being able to have a natural conversation.
So more like internalizing the key points and examples, rather than memorizing every single word.
You got it. And another thing to avoid is being too general or vague in your responses. Interviewers, they want specifics.
They want the details, the stories, the proof.
Exactly. They want those concrete examples that actually demonstrate your skills and accomplishments.
So instead of just saying, I'm a great communicator, you'd want to give a specific example of a time when you effectively communicated with a client, or maybe how you negotiated a complex agreement.
Precisely. Use that STAR method we talked about earlier. That can really help you provide those specific details and make your answers way more compelling.
Right, paint a picture for them.
Exactly. Now, another common mistake, and I've seen this happen a lot, is focusing too much on your personal goals. Instead of how you can actually contribute to the firm.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between showcasing your ambition, but also highlighting how your skills and goals align with what the firm needs and values.
You nailed it. It's good to express your aspirations, of course,
Right.
but try to frame them in a way that shows how they'll benefit the firm.
So instead of just saying, I want to make partner, you'd explain how that goal is driven by your desire to, contribute to the firm's growth and success.
Exactly. Maybe even mention a specific practice area that you're passionate about and how you see yourself growing within that area.
That's a much better approach.
Yeah.
It shows you're committed to the firm's success, not just your own personal climb up the ladder.
Exactly. And one last thing, try to avoid speaking negatively about previous employers or colleagues. I know it can be tempting.
Especially if you had a rough time.
Yeah, but even if you had a challenging experience, focus on the positive takeaways and what you learned from that situation.
It's about staying professional and focusing on the future, not dwelling on negativity.
Exactly. And you know what else is really important?
What's that?
Nonverbal communication.
Body language.
Yeah.
The silent communicator.
Yeah. Those nonverbal cues can be just as important as the words you say. Maintaining good eye contact, offering a firm handshake, sitting up straight. These all project confidence.
I know I tend to fidget when I'm nervous. Any advice on how to channel that nervous energy into something more positive?
It's totally natural to feel nervous. Just try to reframe it as excitement. Tell yourself, hey, they invited me for an interview. They see something in me. Channel that nervous energy into enthusiasm and a genuine desire to connect with the interviewers.
I love that. Turn that anxiety into positive energy. Okay, so we've talked about avoiding those common pitfalls and projecting confidence. Now let's circle back to crafting those compelling answers. Our source mentions storytelling as a powerful tool during interviews. Can you elaborate on that?
Storytelling. It's such a great way to bring your experiences to life and make them memorable. Because instead of just listing your accomplishments, you weave them into a narrative that showcases your skills, your challenges, your triumphs.
So you're painting a picture with your words and engaging the interviewers on an emotional level.
Exactly. For example, instead of just saying, you have experience in contract negotiation, tell a story about a particularly tricky negotiation you handled. Highlight the challenges you faced, the strategies you used, the successful outcome you achieved.
Make them feel like they're right there in the room with you, experiencing the highs and lows of that negotiation, and ultimately celebrating that win together.
Precisely. Storytelling helps you connect with those interviewers on a human level. Make your experiences more relatable, more impactful. Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about the specific qualities that firms look for in potential attorneys.
Yeah, beyond just knowing the law, what are those essential traits that make someone stand out as a top candidate?
Well, legal expertise is obviously a must-have, but firms also look for people who are strong analytical thinkers, effective communicators, and persuasive advocates. They want someone who can build relationships with clients, work collaboratively with colleagues, and handle those tricky ethical situations that come up all the time in this profession.
It's like they're looking for a perfect blend of brains, heart, and a strong moral compass.
You got it. And beyond those core skills, they really appreciate qualities like resilience, adaptability, and a growth mindset. This field is constantly changing, so firms want people who can embrace that change, learn from their experiences, and always be striving to improve.
So it's not just about what you know right now. It's about showing them that you're eager to learn, grow, and take on new challenges.
Exactly. Demonstrating a genuine passion for the law and a commitment to professional development. That's what really makes a lasting impression. And another important thing to remember is tailoring your responses to the specific firm and the type of law they practice.
Yes. It's not about being a good lawyer in general. It's about being the right lawyer for that particular firm.
Exactly. Before each interview, take some time to research the firm, understand their areas of expertise, their client base, their culture. Tailor your answers to highlight the experiences and skills that align with their specific needs and values.
So if I'm interviewing with a firm that specializes in intellectual property law, I'd want to showcase my experience with patent litigation or trademark prosecution, even if those were just small parts of my previous roles.
Precisely. Highlighting those relevant experiences, even if they weren't your main focus, shows that you've done your research and you understand what they're all about.
It's about showing them that you're not just looking for any legal job. You're looking for the right opportunity to use your unique skills and expertise and to be part of a team that shares your values and goals.
Exactly. Now, speaking of showing them you're the right fit, what about following up after the interview? Our source mentioned that's super important too.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Is there a way to follow up without seeming too pushy or desperate?
There is. Following up is crucial. It shows you're still interested and gives you another chance to highlight your qualifications.
Okay, so what's the best way to go about it?
Within 24 hours of the interview, send a personalized thank you email to each person you met with. Express your gratitude for their time. Reiterate your enthusiasm for the position, and briefly mention one or two key points that really resonated with you from the conversation.
So it's not just a generic thank you, it's more like a reminder of your strengths and your genuine interest in the firm.
Exactly. And if a specific topic or question came up during the interview that you wanted to elaborate on, the thank you email is a great place to do that.
Oh, that's a smart move.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to address any lingering questions or provide more information that might help your chances.
And if you haven't heard back within a week or so, it's perfectly fine to send a polite follow-up email just checking in on the status of the hiring process.
So it's about finding that balance between showing you're still interested, but also respecting their timeline and decision-making process.
Exactly. Following up in a thoughtful, professional way just shows your commitment to the opportunity and keeps you on their radar.
All of this advice has been so helpful. I feel much more prepared to handle the entire interview process, from the research before to the follow-up after.
Remember, preparation is key, but authenticity matters just as much. Let your personality shine through, show your passion for the law, and don't be afraid to ask those tough questions, the ones that'll help you figure out if this firm is truly the right fit for you.
I love that reminder. It's a two-way street. We're choosing them just as much as they're choosing us. Speaking of choosing, let's talk about something that often makes people nervous, the dreaded salary question. How do we handle that delicate topic during an interview, especially if we don't want to undersell ourselves or seem too focused on the money?
That's a great question. The salary talk can be tricky for sure, but it's important to approach it confidently and professionally. Yeah, it can be a bit of a dance. But the key is to be prepared, confident, and professional. Do your research on salary ranges beforehand. Practice what you'll say, and don't hesitate to negotiate if their first offer isn't what you're looking for.
This has been an amazing deep dive. We've covered so much, from understanding the questions to expect, to crafting those compelling answers, asking smart questions, handling that salary talk, and of course, following up the right way.
Absolutely. It's all about preparation and strategy, but at the end of the day, being genuine really matters. Let your personality shine through, show them your passion about the law, and don't be afraid to ask those tough questions, the ones that help you figure out if the firm is the right place for you.
Exactly. It's not just about them picking you. It's about you picking them too.
Yeah.
And that mindset shift is powerful. Now, our source material also mentions something I think a lot of people struggle with: mental preparation. How do we handle those pre-interview jitters and stay focused and confident through the whole process?
It's totally normal to feel nervous before an interview. Everyone does. But the trick is to use that nervous energy to your advantage. Instead of thinking of the interview as like a test, try to see it as a chance to show off your skills and connect with people who could be your future colleagues.
I like that. It's not about being judged. It's about having a conversation
Right.
and sharing your passion for the law.
Exactly. And to manage those nerves, try some relaxation techniques, deep breathing, visualization. Maybe even picture yourself confidently answering questions and having a great conversation with the interviewers.
Those are great tips. So it's about getting in the right headspace and setting yourself up for success. Now, beyond those mental strategies, are there any practical things we can do in those days leading up to the interview? To make sure we're organized and ready to go.
Absolutely. Plan your outfit in advance. Make sure it's professional and something you feel good in. And gather all your documents, your resume, cover letter, writing samples, anything they've asked for.
It's about taking care of those little details so you're not stressing about them last minute.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. You want to be well rested so you can think clearly and stay focused during the interview.
It's like prepping for a big game, right? You got to take care of yourself, both mentally and physically. Okay, let's talk about the interview itself. Our source talks about the importance of first impressions. Any tips for making a positive impact from the moment you walk in?
First impressions are everything. Plan to arrive on time, maybe even a few minutes early. It shows you're punctual and you respect their time. Greet everyone you meet with a smile and a firm handshake. Make eye contact and chat with them while you're waiting. Be friendly and approachable.
Projecting that confidence and professionalism from the get-go.
Exactly. And once you're in the interview room, pay attention to your body language. Sit up straight, keep good posture. Try not to fidget or cross your arms. It can make you seem nervous or closed off.
It's about being present and engaged in the conversation, not just with your words, but with your whole presence.
Exactly. And don't forget to really listen to their questions. If you need something clarified, ask. Take a moment to think before you answer and speak clearly and confidently.
So much of being a good lawyer is being a good listener.
Absolutely. Active listening is essential in this field, especially in an interview.
Now, our source also talks about showing your passion for the law. How can we make sure that comes through in the interview?
Show them you're not just there for a paycheck. Tell them what excites you about the law. What are you curious about? What are you passionate about?
Let that inner legal geek out a little.
Exactly. Share stories about cases that inspired you or legal concepts that you find fascinating. Talk about pro bono work you're proud of. Let them see your enthusiasm.
It's about showing them you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for a place to pursue your passion.
Exactly. All right, so we've talked about first impressions, showcasing your passion. Now, how about ending the interview on a strong note? Our source had some tips on that, too.
Yeah, it's always good to leave them with a positive, lasting impression.
As you wrap up, reiterate your enthusiasm for the position and the firm. Summarize your key qualifications and how they align with the role. And, of course, thank them sincerely for their time and consideration.
Close the loop and express your appreciation.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask about next steps. It shows you're proactive and you're ready to move forward.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Mental preparation, First impressions, showcasing your passion, ending strong.
Mm.
I'm feeling much more confident about those interviews now.
Remember, the interview is as much about you checking them out as it is about them checking you out. Ask good questions. Be yourself. Trust your instincts. The right opportunity will be a win-win for both of you.
Absolutely. It's about finding the right fit, the right team, the right place to grow. So much more than just getting any job.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, I think that wraps up our deep dive into attorney interview prep. We've covered a ton of ground today, and I hope it's been helpful as you navigate your legal career.
I hope so too.
Remember, preparation is key. Authenticity matters. And don't hesitate to ask those insightful questions. Good luck out there. You've got this. And that's a wrap on our deep dive for today. We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic to explore. Until then, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.